Hey guys, Paul Mascetta here with InfluenceMaster.com, and today I wanted to talk about one of the most powerful aspects of influence. It's called social proof or social validity. And what the law of social proof tells us is that when people are confused or unsure about what they should do, they normally look to see what the majority of other people have done under the same circumstances. If you've ever seen a book that says something like over 1 million copies sold worldwide, then you've been exposed to the law of social proof. Because what the publishing company is basically doing is sending you a message that activates a trigger in your mind, which makes you think, hey, if over 1 million people have purchased this book, it must be good. And in most cases, this will activate a trigger in your mind that will cause you to actually purchase that book. Well, you may or may not have been aware of the power of social validity. It might not be something that's necessarily new to you. But today I wanted to share a quick case study with you about how truly powerful it is. It's about a woman by the name of Colleen Zott. And she is a world-famous infomercial writer, most known for the infomercials that have to do with the Nordic Track weight training machine. And a couple of years ago, she wrote an infomercial that completely shattered a 20-year record in terms of the amount of sales and the amount of revenue that she generated. And all she did was change 3 words on her call to action line, okay? Instead of the typical call to action line that would say something like, operators are waiting, please call now, something that you normally would see on the infomercial, she changed it to, if operators are busy, please call again. Now, you would think that on the surface, this looks like a mistake. It would probably turn potential customers off because they would be thinking, I don't want to have to call, I don't want to have to call again, I don't want to waste my time. And you would think that people would either not call, or if they did call, they would get the sense that they would be turned off and actually maybe not make the purchase. But in reality, nothing could be further from the truth. As I said, it completely shattered a 20-year sales record. And the reason why is simple. It completely changed the perception in the person's mind using the power of social validity, okay? The imagery that took place in the customer's mind initially with a typical subject line or a typical call to action line of something that says operators are standing by, you get a sense that operators are just kind of sitting around twiddling their thumbs, bored to death in a big room with nothing going on. When you see something like if operators are busy, it makes you think that they're running around, acting crazy, trying to answer as many calls as they can. And if that many calls are coming in, then that means a lot of people just like you are rushing to the phones to place orders, and that must mean that this product is good. It must mean that it's popular. People want it. People desire it. And so you adapt and fall into the law of social validity because you also want to take advantage of something that's so great. That's how powerful the law of social validity is, that even if the presentation seems unappealing, or it may seem uneasy or not simple or almost a waste of time for the person, if the social validity message is constructed in such a way that it's that powerful, it will override all of that and still cause the person to act. So the question is, how do you apply social validity in what you do, whether you're selling, persuading, influencing, or simply just trying to convey a point? Well, the first thing is you want to use as much proof as possible. And proof, the best kind of proof that you can find is in case studies just like this, where you can bring up actual events, recorded events that took place that involve real people and real events, and show your target how a group of people acted in the same way. Okay? Then you also want to show them the result. It's also very important to show them the result. You could show them how, a bunch of people just jumped off of a bridge, but obviously the result from doing such a thing isn't going to be that great. So you want to actually show people show your target how a group of people did something and the positive result that it yielded them from doing so. It's funny, when I bought my car a couple of months ago, as I was sitting down with the salesman, he used the law of social validity on me and told me me that my car was the most popular, it was the most popular vehicle in the entire company, that they sell more of that vehicle than they do anything else. And of course I thought to myself, heck, it's because it's a good car and that's why I'm buying it. That's the law of social validity in action. So today I just want to share with you 3 rules that you simply must follow when you're using the law of social validity, okay? Rule number 1, the bigger the group of people, the better, okay? If you can show your target how a really large group of people feel the same way about your product or service and how it's benefited them, you're going to catch their attention, okay? If you show them how 1 or 2 people did it, you know, it might not be so moving. But you can really engage them when you show them how large groups of people have benefited from your product or service. The second rule that you want to follow is that you want to make sure that your target can identify with the proof. You don't want to show them something that they can't relate to or doesn't make sense to them. In other words, if you're talking about something that interests them and you know what their interests are, make sure that whatever social proof you are using relates to the way they see the world and what their interests are. If you bring up something that they don't believe in or that they don't find to be interesting, you're going to completely lose them. And instead of them listening and being engaged, they're going to be more worried about how they can exit the conversation. And when people are thinking about exiting the conversation, they are not going to be able to be influenced. And so that's something that you definitely want to steer clear of. And rule number 3 is that you want to make sure that the message is extremely clear. What do I mean by that? Well, whatever it is that you're using, your social proof, whatever message you're trying to convey, you want to make that message as clear as possible. So that could mean that, you know, whatever you have to offer is the least expensive, it's the best selling, it's the most effective, it's the most convenient, it's the most reliable. That's what the message should convey. You don't want to confuse people by using social proof and conveying a message that isn't clear to them. If you're trying to instill in them that your product is the cheapest, use social proof that explains that. Show how a group of people have made a purchase and benefited, and how this product is saving thousands, or even better, millions of people around the world tons of money. And always make sure that whatever social proof you're using is indeed true. Social proof is a very powerful thing. There are countless ways to use it, and I'll give you, as we go on, I'll give you more and more case studies and examples of how amazing this law really is and how people really react to it. Until next time, Paul Mascetta with InfluenceMaster.com, wishing you a great day.